There's different levels of violations. So when you have examiners coming in, make sure that as they're pointing out things that are wrong, or maybe you have that independent test and they're coming in and they're pointing out things that might need to be improved, or there might be things that, maybe it's just even good to great. But understanding the varying levels is very important. Okay. So the first one is a program violation, or what we also call a pillar violation. Okay. Pillar violation is a fundamental flaw in one of those fundamental elements that you need to have. All right. Now, these are a big deal, and they can lead, they generally, if you have a pillar violation, there's an automatic cease and desist that comes along with it. So in other words, you are directed to make sure that this is corrected very quickly. Okay. Pillar violations are a big deal. You want to make sure we try to avoid those to the extent we possibly can. Then the next category would be a systemic and reoccurring violation. So in other words, there's things that are happening, and it's a systemic problem. So it's an entire control that isn't working correctly, or maybe it's something that was pointed out in a previous exam or a previous audit, but you still haven't corrected that problem. Okay. So it's either a systemic problem that's across the board impacting your customers and services or controls, or it's something that we have been notified about and we haven't corrected it yet. Okay. That's the next level under a pillar violation. And know that these systemic and reoccurring violations could lead to a cease and desist. All right. Pillar violation, automatic cease and desist. That's where you're going to have the federal government in your backyard making sure, or basically helping direct the process to fix whatever's going on. A systemic or reoccurring violation, that could lead to a cease and desist. Then let's go to the next category: isolated and technical violations. Now, as long as they aren't too frequent, these are they're ways to make sure that we are correcting things over time, because believe it or not, nobody nails this 100% of the time. There's always going to be issues that pop up, technical violations. We try to avoid them to the extent we possibly can. But think of these as learnings. All right. There's something here. We need to fix this, of course, but it's not that big of a deal in relatively speaking. Okay. So sometimes you may need clarification as the board. If you are getting reports and you're saying, okay, what are these issues? Quantifying the problems that you're running into can sometimes help you manage that risk appropriately. All right. Now, there's also recommendations and best practices that are out there. And that, that's really where it's not a technical violation of a legal requirement, right? So whatever's going on, it doesn't violate the law. However, there's a better way to do it, or maybe there's issues with the way that you're doing it, and it's not quite as good as it could be. Now, these are just recommendations. So you can take them and implement them, or you can just say, no, you know what, Kevin, I appreciate this report. I appreciate that you gave us some best practices, but for whatever reason, we've decided that's not the best for us. Okay. As long as you do that on a risk basis, and as long as you document why you're not taking the advice, I think you'll be fine. Okay. But do address it. Don't just disregard those types of recommendations. If you get them in a report, you should have some follow up on everything. And that would be my recommendation. Document what was the recommendation. What are we doing about it? And it could be that you say, you know what, Kevin, we don't agree with you, or we think based on our risk assessment, we're going to do something a little differently. That's perfectly fine. But just make sure that it's being acknowledged and it's being addressed by your BSA management team.